So you want to see a good rivalry this weekend? It's the Red River Shootout, Showdown, Rivalry. What are we calling it now? I don't know. Top-ranked Texas back at number one after Alabama dropped to Vandy. In Oklahoma being ranked, I think around 17 or 18. They're down there pretty low, and they do have a loss. But are they motivated to come into this game and pull off an upset? Is an upset doable? I think so. You look at Arch Manning. He's looked pretty good for Texas since taking over an injured Quinn Ewers. But Quinn Ewers is rumored to start this game, ready to go, ready to get back out there. And I think that makes things even more difficult for Oklahoma. And I really do. And Oklahoma's defense has gotten really good and really much improved under Brent Venables. They used to be that school when they had Lincoln Riley. I remember they had good defenses back with Bob Stoops, but now with Lincoln Riley, it's like, where's the defense? It's non-existent. And the same things happened with Lincoln Riley at USC, so it's probably a Lincoln Riley thing. It's not some curse for Oklahoma. I look at Brent Venables. He's a defensive guru, comes from Clemson, defensive coordinator over there. He's done a really good and fantastic job. Now you look at the quarterback situation. It's very interesting because you've had some issues with Jackson Arnold. Then you have this guy, Michael Hawkins, come in. I have not looked too much in depth as to what quarterbacks are starting for Oklahoma this week. I don't know the situation other than I know I've seen both guys, and I like Michael Hawkins a little bit more than Jackson Arnold, even though I think both are really, really good. I give Texas the edge in this game just because they're the better team. They're the number one team right now. Is it going to catch up to them this weekend? That's a big question. This is a 2:30 Central Time game in Dallas or Arlington, whatever it is, at the Cotton Bowl on ABC. I think I like the improvements for Texas's defense. I think they got some studs out there. One of them being Kendrick Blackshear, who comes from Alabama at linebacker. You got really good offensive weapons. It's probably the most complete offense out there in the country right now, even ahead of Alabama, I'll say it. I think Alabama, of course, coming off that Vanderbilt loss, is going to regroup and look better this week against South Carolina. But sticking to this Red River rivalry real quick, I going off the top of my head here, my heart says to pick Texas. I think the right choice would be Texas in this game. I don't know if they win it big, though. This is always really close. Some people call it a shootout, the Red River Shootout. And it can be. And it's been very high scoring and very historic. They have met over 100 times. I think this is meeting 119 or 120, if I'm not mistaken. And they've been meeting for pretty much every single year. Like, it's never really taken a year off. So they've been going for over a century every single year. And it's very historic. It's very fun to watch. I look at this and I say Texas should win. But I think the big question coming into this game is, can Oklahoma pull the upset? I think they absolutely could. I think anything's possible in a rivalry game like this. How do they pull the upset? You got to hope that you play 4 quarters of defense and contain the offense, especially your secondary for the receivers. I don't care who's at quarterback for Texas. It could be Quinn. It could be Arch. It could be anyone. You got to contain the quarterback, but you got to contain the receivers. You have to. Because they're fast, they're physical, they can get open in space and make big plays downfield. Oklahoma does not really have that much on their offense. It's not bad, but it's not going to be as explosive as Texas unless they just show up in this game. I think they're one of those teams that loves to run the ball. Talking about Oklahoma here, they love to run the ball. They love to do quick passes over the middle. They don't really explode like Texas or Alabama. They just don't. They don't explode like Georgia does. They don't explode. They just don't. Not that that's a bad thing, but that's what you need if you're going to beat Texas. And I would say for Texas, they do drop a game later on, and I think it's going to be to an angry Georgia team. Because I think Georgia, even though I think in the offseason I had picked them to beat Alabama but lose to Texas. Well, now they've lost to Bama. And I just don't know if Georgia's going to lose 2 games. At least in the SEC, right? But that's really all they got left. So I got to take Texas in this game, and it's like a 14-point spread. I would say it could be 10 points. I don't know if Texas will cover the spread, but they've done a pretty good job of doing that this year. But they are going to win. They are going to beat Oklahoma, probably by double digits. I could see like a 10-point game. I think their defense is going to have some issues, but I could see like a 30. Could I see like a 35-24 victory? I don't think it's as high scoring as it was when they were both in the Big 12, and early on they were like never playing defenses back a decade ago. They just didn't play defense. The 2010s, even the early 2020s, the late 2010s, there was no defense, especially for Oklahoma. But that was the joke of the Big Ten, was defense. It's like it doesn't exist. Everyone's a shootout. Everyone's going to score high points. I could kind of see that in this game too, but not like a 54-51 or it's not going to be anything like that. It's not going to be major. No one's hitting 50 points, I don't think. But maybe in the 30s and 40s. Somewhere in there, low 40s though, if someone does hit it. I think this is like the first to get like 35 plus points might win the game. I like Texas, and I have no reason to pick against Texas until they really show me that they can lose a game. And I'm not talking about actually losing a game. I'm talking about show me your weakness. I mean, even at the Big House, what was that game? 31-12, and you can say whatever you want to about Michigan. I get it. Michigan's not what they were last year, but it's still the Big House. It's a hostile environment, and they took it over and made it their house. I look at that game for Michigan, or for Texas, Michigan too, but this is their next challenge. I mean, I think there's really 3 games, and they took care of one of them. On Texas's schedule outside of the SEC title. There was Michigan, they won. There's Oklahoma this weekend, and there's Georgia. I might take Texas in every single game up until maybe that Georgia game, and I don't even know if I would take Georgia in that game for an upset. I just don't. I just think Texas is that good. Now, they're not unbeatable. They have shown weakness at times. But also, like, until proven otherwise, I mean, they have a legit case to win the SEC and outright beat everybody they play. I mean, it's almost like Texas this year is going on like this Cinderella, LSU type of run like we had in 2019. It's like 2019 LSU. It's like 2018 Alabama, even though they got blown out at the end. I don't think Texas gets blown out at the end. I would like Texas. I said, even though we got a 12-team playoff, that Texas is probably my go-to championship favorite. I don't know if they're going to win it, because there's 12 teams this year. Upsets and spoilers and everything like that could happen. But until proven otherwise, Texas is your best team in the country right now. And since Alabama lost and they took over that number 1 spot, like, rankings even matter at this point. They kind of sort of don't. But Texas, just that good. Now, can Oklahoma win? Absolutely. Absolutely. And what do? I don't think they're going to get as much pressure as they would like to get on Quinn Ewers. But if you keep him on the bench and your offense and Michael Hawkins or Jackson Arnold, whoever trots out there at quarterback this weekend, if they could create big explosive plays and expose Texas's secondary, if they could do that and you score every time you touch the ball, and then your defense steps up and blitzes and pressures Quinn, and you just throw him off a little bit. Now, he's going to make big plays too. But here's the thing. If you're up and you're Oklahoma, your best case scenario to not let Quinn Ewers come out there and keep him on the bench. That's your best case scenario. That's my opinion. That's my 2 cents on the Red River this weekend. But again, I say it's a mystery rivalry, because even though Texas has looked like the best team, when these two get together, upsets have always happened, and there's always a lot at stake. It's usually the winner of this is going to the Big 12 title. I don't think it's like that here in the SEC, though. I think Texas, even with a loss, is still making the SEC title game. I really do. I'm going to take Texas to win, but let's say if they lose, it's not like Oklahoma's making a run to Atlanta to face Georgia or Alabama again or whoever, right? Now, they could, but, you know, they got a lot of work to do, and they got to also hope that some teams ahead of them start losing SEC games, which is probably not going to happen. They need some stuff to work out in their favor. But I'm taking Texas to win. Somewhere in the 30s, I would say. I do think it's a couple possession game or whatever. Wouldn't surprise me if it's close in the fourth quarter and Texas just kind of puts the final nail in the coffin or whatever. But I don't think it's as high scoring as we think. I think it's all Texas. But this is going to be another great addition to the Red River Shootout rivalry, whatever you call it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I love y'all. And we'll see what happens on Saturday, 2:30 Central kick on ABC, now in the SEC. I love y'all. Have a blessed day.